In January 1961, an old man in Switzerland sat down to write a letter to a stranger in New York. He was 85 years old. He would be dead within 6 months. He had spent his entire career studying the human soul. And now, near the end, a recovering alcoholic named Bill Wilson had written to him asking a question. The letter Carl Jung wrote back is the reason Alcoholics Anonymous exists in the form you know it. And almost nobody, not in AA, not in the Jung community, not on YouTube, has actually read it. Today we're going to read it together, and I'm going to tell you what it meant to me when I finally understood what Jung was saying. Because if you're an addict, or you love one, or you're somewhere in the middle of trying to put your life back together, this letter is for you. To understand the letter, you need to know the story behind it. In 1931, a wealthy American businessman named Roland Hazard traveled to Zurich to see Carl Jung. Roland was an alcoholic. He had tried everything: hospitals, hypnotism, willpower, geographic cures. Nothing worked. Jung treated him for a year, and at the end of that year, Jung sat him down and told him something almost no doctor in 1931 would have said. He told him, "I cannot help you. Medicine cannot help you. Psychology cannot help you. The only thing that has ever helped a hopeless alcoholic, in my experience, is a profound spiritual experience, a vital religious conversion, something that completely rearranges the soul." Roland was devastated, but he was also desperate. So he did what Jung suggested. He sought out a spiritual experience. He found one in a Christian fellowship called the Oxford Group, and then he carried what he had found to another alcoholic, who carried it to another, who carried it to Bill Wilson. Bill Wilson got sober in 1934. He co-founded Alcoholics Anonymous in 1935. AA's spiritual foundation, surrender, higher power, awakening, came directly from that line of transmission. All of it started with what Jung told Roland Hazard. 30 years later, in 1961, Bill Wilson wrote to Jung to thank him. Jung wrote back, and in his reply, he said something that I want you to hear carefully. He said, his craving for alcohol was the equivalent, on a low level, of the spiritual thirst of our being for wholeness, expressed in medieval language, the union with God. Stop there, read it again. The craving for alcohol, the desperate, grinding, can't stop, won't stop need, is the same hunger as the soul's thirst for God. Same hunger, just aimed at the wrong thing. Jung continued, you see, alcohol in Latin is spiritus, and you use the same word for the highest religious experience as well as for the most depraving poison. The helpful formula, therefore, is spiritus contra spiritum. Spiritus contra spiritum. Spirit against spirit. You fight the spirit of alcohol with the spirit. You replace the false god with the real one. The hunger doesn't go away. It gets redirected toward what it was actually looking for the whole time. This is not religious moralizing. Jung was not a Christian preacher. He spent his life studying every religious tradition on earth. What he was saying, as a psychologist, was that addiction is, at root, a misdirected search for meaning. The addict isn't broken because they want too much. They're suffering because they want the right thing in the wrong place. I'll tell you when I understood this. I was 15 months sober. I had done the steps. I had a sponsor. I had a higher power. I'd always had one. The existence of God was never the question for me. That's what made what happened next so confusing, because I still felt restless, not drinking restless, soul restless, like there was something I was supposed to be doing that I wasn't doing, like the sobriety had handed me a life, and I didn't know what the life was for. It hit me on an ordinary Tuesday evening. I was sitting in a meeting, Same room, same chairs, same coffee, and something in me just dropped out. I felt empty, pointless, the kind of grief where part of you starts wondering if there's any reason to keep going at all. Drinking wasn't the question anymore. Drinking was off the table. This was something else. This was the floor of my life falling out while I was sober. And then something happened that I still can't explain in any other language except the one Jung gave me later. The man sitting on my right shared. He said he was 4 years sober and living in misery. The man sitting on my left shared. He said he was 11 years sober and living in insanity. Both of them, on the same Tuesday night, on either side of me, describing exactly the place I was sitting in. I caught one of them after the meeting. And what he said to me, I want you to hear because it's the whole thing in one sentence. He said, "How are you changing? What are you doing that's different about you? Not just ticking boxes following your sponsor's directions. How are you actually changing?" He told me I was still living the same way I'd always lived. Same thinking, same acting, same person underneath the sobriety. And then he said the line that I still carry with me: get to the causes and conditions. Dig deeper into what makes you, you. He guided me to a different sponsor. I started doing a different kind of work, and not long after, somewhere. I honestly don't remember where, online or in a book somebody handed me. I came across Jung's letter to Bill Wilson, and everything that man on the right of me and the man on the left of me and the new sponsor and the new work had been pointing at. Jung had already written it down in 1961. What I had been calling alcoholism my whole life was actually something much older and much deeper. I had been thirsty for God, but I had been thirsty for the wrong thing inside me too, for the self, for wholeness, for the part of me I had been running from my entire life. I had been trying to drink my way to all of it. The drink almost killed me, and the emptiness that came in sobriety nearly took me out a different way. But the thirst was holy. The thirst was the most honest thing about me. Sitting here now, I can tell you, the man I'm becoming is not the man who walked into that Tuesday meeting. The causes and conditions are different. The old ideas are getting replaced. The thirst finally has somewhere to go. That's what Jung was telling Bill Wilson in 1961. That's what those two strangers were telling me on a Tuesday night without knowing it. And that's why this channel exists. If you are an addict or you are trying to understand one, here is what I want you to take from this. Your addiction is not your character flaw. It is your soul lost. You are not a bad person who needs to become good. You are a thirsty person who has been drinking from the wrong well. This is why willpower doesn't work. You cannot willpower your way out of a spiritual problem. You can white-knuckle sobriety for a while, many people do, but it will feel like holding your breath underwater. Eventually you will have to come up. The way out is not stopping the thirst. The way out is redirecting it toward what Jung called the self, the deepest, truest, most whole part of you that the personality has covered over, toward meaning, toward shadow work, toward the integration of the parts of you that you have been running from your entire life, toward, and I know this word is loaded, toward something larger than yourself, however you need to name it. This is what the 12 steps are actually pointing at, beneath the language. This is what Jung spent his life mapping. This is what the mystics in every tradition have been saying for 2,000 years. And once you see it, once you see that the hunger is sacred, recovery stops being a deprivation and starts being a homecoming. Jung died in June of 1961, 6 months after writing that letter. Bill Wilson lived another 10 years. He kept the letter close. In AA's General Service Archives in New York, you can still see the correspondence. Almost nobody reads it. Most people in recovery have never heard of it. Most people who study Jung have never connected it to the millions of lives that have been saved because of what he wrote. On this channel, The Wounded Path, we are going to keep reading it. We are going to keep going into the parts of recovery that nobody talks about. The shadow, the individuation process, the dark night, the wounded healer, why you still feel lost at 15 months sober, or at 5 years sober, or at 20. Why the spiritual awakening you were promised doesn't look like what you expected. If that is the path you are on, subscribe. New videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm glad you're here. We have a long walk ahead.